Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video this morning I am going to be giving you some more additional information regarding Bruno Fernandes, and there's some positivity now coming out about Bruno Fernandes, and there's also, by the way, lots of other things to talk about. And I'm going to give you a bit more news building up to the Tranmere game tomorrow in the FA Cup 4th round. So reportedly, we have been giving him a transfer boost in our pursuit of Bruno Fernandes. Reportedly, Bruno Fernandes is set to miss Sporting Lisbon's game against Martimo on Monday. So that has obviously fueled more speculation up. Obviously, reports merged out earlier on this week saying that Man United had agreed a deal in principle for Bruno Fernandes. We'd agreed around a £55 million deal. He says, reportedly, we'd pay around £47 million up front, and there would be around £8 million in add-ons. But obviously, he said then that we'd lowered our offer again to around £42 million. Reported out a day or two ago saying that, the deal is now off for Bruno Fernandes. The main explanation for this is it's because, we're not willing to meet Sporting Lisbon's valuation. Sporting Lisbon have confirmed that they want around £68 million, but, they confirmed this the other week. And like I said, I think, Manchester United should just pay what Sporting Lisbon are demanding. So I think, we're around £5 or £10 million of Sporting Lisbon's valuation. But I've said to you, haven't I, the fee has been, the stumbling block of Bruno Fernandes making his proposed move to Manchester United. You could say arguably now we should have signed him. I think we should have signed Bruno Fernandes at the beginning of the month. I think we actually should have signed him last summer, because we was relentlessly linked to him last summer. We was relentlessly linked to him last season. But the main explanation why we didn't get Bruno Fernandes last summer is the same now, because we're not willing to meet Sporting Lisbon's valuation. We weren't willing to meet their valuation last summer, because last summer Sporting Lisbon revealed that they wanted around £70 million. We only valued him at around £50 million. But, the vast majority of this stories that have been coming out about Bruno Fernandes anywhere have been coming from Portuguese sources. And, it confirmed the other week, that we've agreed personal terms with Bruno Fernandes, and, he'd be set to earn around £120,000 a week, but no fee has yet, come to an agreement. So like I said, that's a stumbling block, and Bruno Fernandes has already made it clear he wants to come to Manchester United, basically. And if we do make any signings in this January transfer window, it will only be Bruno Fernandes. I don't think, we'll make any more signings. We've only got around 5 or 6 days, to get this deal completed for Bruno Fernandes. But I think he's worth what Sporting Lisbon are demanding, despite the fact that Sporting Lisbon got him from next to note from Sampdoria. Sporting Lisbon paid around, was it £6 or £7 million to get him from Sampdoria. But honest to God, I think he would be a great addition to the squad. And, obviously, Man United are seeing him as an adequate replacement for Paul Pogba. Bruno Fernandes can create chances. He can provide goals in that midfield. He can provide assists. His work rate's good. His tenacity's very, very good. And I think, he's got the minerals to come and succeed in the Premier League, even though he hasn't played in the Premier League as yet. So I think in the Premier League, he can replicate what he's done in his couple of years with Portugal. I thought he was also good in Italy when he was younger. And he is only the age of 25, is Bruno Fernandes. So he's going to be missing Sporting Lisbon's game on Monday against Martimo. Obviously he played in Sporting Lisbon's last game in their 2-1 defeat to Braga. Obviously, in that particular game, Bruno Fernandes stormed down the tunnel. I think he had a dispute with a policeman, obviously. And obviously, the last Friday, not the Friday just gone, the Friday before, the one yesterday, Bruno Fernandes played in Sporting Lisbon's game against Benfica, and that actual game, should have been his farewell appearance, because Man United actually wanted to sign Bruno Fernandes. before that game against Benfica. Paul Scholes come out and give his overarching view on it, and he says, reflecting on our 2-0 defeat to Burnley, he says that increases our chances of getting Bruno Fernandes. George Mendes, he said earlier on this week, he doesn't know if Bruno Fernandes is going to be coming to Manchester United. He doesn't know if he's going to be leaving Sporting Lisbon in this January transfer window, but he's convinced if he doesn't leave in this January transfer window, he will leave in the summer, basically. Obviously, I know the couple of weeks ago, was it now, there was a lot of talks about, Marcus Rojo possibly going as part of the deal, because Sporting Lisbon did demand Rojo as part of the deal. Also, there was talks of Andres Pereira going as part of the deal. But if we do get this deal over the line, it's going to be a straight cash deal. We've already had one bid turned down for him. I think our first offer was around 42 million, with around 25 million in add-ons. But obviously, the add-ons would have only been activated if certain things would have been met, like if we'd have won the Premier League, the Champions League, or Bruno Fernandes had won, the Ballon d'Or. But obviously, Sporting Lisbon were unhappy with the offer, because obviously, that was extremely unlikely to happen. He got his contract extended last year with Sporting Lisbon. He extended his contract until 2023. So we need to get this deal over the line, because we've been locked in negotiations, for the last couple of weeks. And, since Bruno Fernandes' agent and the Sporting Lisbon president had travelled to England quite a few weeks ago now, negotiations have been ongoing. And, at one point, negotiations were at an advanced stage. Obviously, they have stalled a couple of times, reflecting on, the fee. But I think we should just pay it, because obviously, Man United have got the money. We're one of the richest clubs in the world. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world. We're known for overpaying for players anywhere. We paid £80 million for Harry Maguire. We paid £50 million for Fred. £40 million for Nemanja Matic, £89 million for Paul Pogba. We've also got the highest wage bill in the Premier League. So we can afford what Sporting Lisbon are demanding, basically. And obviously, us, if we do sell players this year, we're going to generate money, for some players, that do leave Manchester United, because Solskjaer has revealed it's likely that, more players are going to be leaving this year. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of deadwood at the football club. So that's the latest news regarding Fernandes. But we need a midfielder, because, that midfield is one of the priority areas where Man United need to strengthen up. I think we need two midfielders. Bruno Fernandes isn't enough. He's a good start, but he isn't enough, because we look very exposed in that midfield, reflecting on the injuries to Paul Pogba and Scott McTominay. I think they're due back at the end of this month or at the beginning of February. And, Herrera left last summer, so, we need a replacement for him. So that midfield I've got element of concerns about it, because at the moment, we can only rely on the likes of Matic, Fred, Pereira. I think definitely Matic and Pereira are two liabilities. I've got a lot of element of concerns about them. Angel Gomez, he's another midfield option, but, he never really gets a chance, so I don't really see the point in him being here. So we have got, even though the likes of Herrera and Fellaini left, we've still got a variety of midfielders in the team. But, we need to get Bruno Fernandes in, definitely. And he wears the number 8 for Sporting Lisbon. I think he would do well in the number 10 if he comes to Manchester United, to be honest with you. But, yeah, we need two midfielders. And, there's other areas in the squad as well that need to be addressed. Don't forget now, Man United need a striker. Solskjaer did say, we could now delve into this transfer. Well, it's more than likely we're going to delve into this current transfer market for short-term deals. The main explanation for this is reflecting on the injury to Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford, I think, is going to be out for the rest of this season, or he could be out for at least 6 weeks. Rashford has sustained a double fracture in his back. So Rashford's injury is very severe. And, I think some of the blame does stem from Solskjaer, why Rashford's injury occurred, because he never should have played him against Wolves. Ian Wright came out and said, it was Solskjaer's fault, for bringing Rashford on against Wolves now. So we need to get a striker in, even until the end of the season, because where the goals are going to come from now that Rashford's not there, because Rashford's been one of our best players this season. He's been in scintillating form. He's scored 19 goals for the football club in all competitions this season. 63 senior goals for the club since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016. So Rashford is going to be a big miss for Manchester United and that. And we've obviously got the likes of Anthony Martial. I think he's totally comparison to Rashford. I don't think he's as good as Marcus Rashford. He's had some decent games this season. He's also had quite a few injuries. And he does help the likes of Rashford and Daniel James, Anthony Martial, and you've got James. I think he's not been so good in his last month. Some people don't think he's emulated to that level as yet. Daniel James is still a lot of aspects of his game that need to improve. But I still think he's been a very, very good signing for Man United, definitely. So, yeah, reflect on the injury to Rashford. We need to get a striker in anyway. I still thought Man United needed a striker. I think we need to add more experience in that attacking line. But I think overall, anyway, this year, Man United have got to make around 5 or 6 more signings if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. I think... we need around 5 or 6 more signings, definitely. And our recruitment has got to improve because our recruitment hasn't only been poor recently, it's been poor for several years. And that's something that's got to improve. But reflect on our poor recruitment in that aspect, the blame stems from our board because our board have been a liability for several years. And, Solskjaer says, recently it's not the right time to discuss the club's recruitment policy. Because don't forget, not too long ago, Gary Neville had come out and criticised Ed Woodward. And he feels as though that Ed Woodward, needs to get out in the football club. But so too do a lot of Manchester United fans in general anyway. But, I think the club are probably going to spend a substantial amount this year on recruiting new players in. I think, we're probably going to spend maybe from 250 to 300, maybe even more on getting new players in to Manchester United, definitely. So, I give you the news, didn't I, regarding Carlos Tevez yesterday. It's a surprise that he's been mentioned in the media. He says, reportedly, Man United are considering making a loan move for Tevez until the end of the season. It's only due to the injury of Marcus Rashford. Now, currently, Tevez is in his third spell with Boca Juniors. He's in his third spell. Obviously, Tevez is a former Manchester United player. He was with us from 2007 to 2009, so he enjoyed 2 years with the club. Tevez won 2 Premier Leagues and the Champions League with Man United. He's also scored 34 times for Manchester United and that. So now could he be reuniting with the club? So we've now gone in for him 11 years after he left the football club and that. But he is now 35 years of age, is Tevez. 35 years of age, but he has played for a variety of clubs as Carlos Tevez. Obviously before he came to us, he was at West Ham. Then he came to us. Then obviously left us and joined Man City. Obviously for Tevez to stay at Man United, he was demanding a pay rise, but Alex Ferguson wouldn't give him it. So he left Man United, joined City. I think won a couple of titles with Man City. Then obviously after left City, went to Juventus. After Juventus, I think he went to China. Now, obviously, he is at Boca Juniors. By the way, Tevez's current contract is due to expire at the end of the season with Boca Juniors. So you would get him now for a reasonable figure. So it would be a cheap solution. I don't know how much we'd have to pay. Maybe we'd have to pay maybe around £10-15 million to get him out on loan till the end of the season. Dimitar Berbatov's given his overarching view on it, and he's actually revealed that, he thinks that Carlos Tevez would be a good signing for Manchester United. This is what he believes from his own perception and that. But Tevez was a phenomenal player for us. I think he played well alongside the likes of Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously Ronaldo enjoyed 6 years at Man United, or was it 5.5 years? Rooney enjoyed for 13 years at the club. He's our all-time leading goal scorer with 253 goals. But so it would be good to see Tevez come back to Manchester United. Maybe some Man United fans wouldn't take him back at the football club, but like I mentioned on my video yesterday, it's very rare that players come back to their clubs that have left the club. It's very rare that they come back. It's happened a few times before, But I don't see this. I don't see Tevez, coming back to Manchester United now. I think it's just a lot. Maybe it's just the media, justifying their resistance on this narrative about Tevez. But if it did happen, I would be very, very delighted. But there's been a few strikers on our agenda. Edison Cavani now. He's another striker on our agenda. Obviously, I've got element of concerns about recommending Edison Cavani in. I do believe, again, would be a cheap solution. Edison Cavani is around, 32 years of age. He is nearly 33, so his age is an element of concern. Also, he's injury prone. That's an element of concern about Edison Cavani. But he confirmed, was it earlier on this week, that he's going to be leaving PSG this month because the PSG director confirmed that he's put in a transfer request at PSG. So he's going to be leaving. Chelsea have been in for him. Man United have been in for him. I think Atletico Madrid are emerged as the favourites to get him. But I don't see Edison Cavani coming to Man United anywhere. I think Chelsea have been recently put off by his wage demands. I was reading the report yesterday. It said, Man United or Chelsea may have to pay around £66 million to get Edison Cavani in. Another element of concern I've got about him is never played in the Premier League. But I admire him because I think he's had a pretty decent career. He's been a long-serving player at PSG. He's now into his 7th season at PSG. So he has enjoyed a good 6 or 7 years there as Edison Cavani. Don't forget his PSG's record goal scorer with 198 goals in 293 appearances in all competitions. Yeah, and PSG did pay around £55 million for him from Napoli back in 2013. But obviously, PSG are not going to recoup, the initial £55 million that they paid for him from Napoli, obviously. And his current contract is due to expire anywhere at the end of the season. So he's been another striker that Man United has been in for. So we're in for quite a few attackers. But, I think, not only due to the injury of Rashford, we need to find an adequate replacement for Romelu Lukaku. We also need a replacement for Alexis Sanchez. Now, do you think we'll regret? Do you think now maybe some Man United fans and maybe even Solskjaer himself will regret getting rid of Romelu Lukaku? Because I thought Lukaku was a great addition to the squad when we had him. I understand, why we got rid of him because he initially lost his place in the team and he wasn't getting them opportunities, and that was Lukaku. But now he's doing really, really well for Inter Milan. I'm happy with the money we generated from his departure, but I'm just disappointed that we didn't keep him because he enjoyed a good first season with the club, but his second season didn't really replicate that. Lukaku in total for Man United scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions. So maybe we will regret doing that now, getting rid of Lukaku. But I think the club have made a hell of a lot of mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years, and these are probably the main explanations why we've been so inconsistent. So yeah, and there's still a lot of speculation going on regarding Jude Bellingham from Birmingham. Jude Bellingham is he says reportedly Man United have put. Well, we've been in for him. It says Man United reportedly earlier on this week put around a £30 million bidding for Jude Bellingham. We've initially upped our offer because I think it reported out before that we'd put around the £25 million offer for Jude Bellingham. I can't see Jude Bellingham leaving Birmingham at this moment in time. I think a lot of United fans feel as though that he would be the wrong priority. I don't think he's ready for the Premier League as yet. I don't think he's at that level as yet. So I think maybe he needs a year or maybe a couple of years, to develop more. Then I think he could emulate to that Premier League level. Don't forget, this is only Jude Bellingham's first season in Birmingham's senior squad. He made his senior debut at the age of 16 years and 38 days. So he broke into their senior team in August of last year. But to be fair, Jude Bellingham has been a revelation this season for Birmingham City. He has made around 25, 26 appearances. And the vast majority of those games he started, I think he started around 18 or 19 of those games. Jude Bellingham's not on a professional contract yet. I think Birmingham are going to get him professional contracts in the summer because in the summer he is 17. Don't forget, like I said, he is only 16 years of age and he is a midfielder. So would you take Jude Bellingham at Manchester United? So he did say if Birmingham were determined to, do any business with Jude Bellingham, they'd still want to keep him on loan as part of any deal, basically. But yeah, if put around the £30 million bidding for him. And £30 million is a substantial amount for a, 16-year-old who's upcoming. So he's been another player on our agenda. But we're already making plans for the summer as well because we've got our players who we could go for in the summer. But signings are desperately needed now at the football club. We've got to make some signs. And I credit Solskjaer. The 3 players he recommended in last summer have done well in the vast majority of the games this season. Maguire's had some bad games where he's made a lot of individual mistakes. Bissaka's done really, really well at right back. I think James has done well prior to the month or so where he's been a bit below par. And we spent nearly £150 million last summer. So we need to get this deal now. Reverting back to what I said about Bruno Fernandes, we need to get this deal now over the line for him, definitely. We do. But I think, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club anywhere. Like Ferdinand was recently saying, he basically said, there's fundamental issues at the club. And these fundamental issues at the club. I don't only think we need a change of management. I think we need a new board. And we need to recommend a new board in. I think we also need a new chairman. We've got to get rid of Ed Woodward. We've also got to get rid of the Glazers. The Glazers have been running the football club now they've been on the football club for 15 years. When they did take over back in 2005. But a lot of United fans have been protesting, the Glazers and Ed Woodward. So we've got to get them out of this football club immediately. We've got to get them out. But, despite our 2-0 defeat to Burnley, that was our last league game. Solskjaer still insists that the board are backing him, to elevate Manchester United forward and that. Solskjaer feels as though, from his own perception, if he is given the time that he's demanding, he can build a team like Liverpool's. And he come out yesterday, Solskjaer, and he compared himself to Jurgen Klopp. He basically, said, he's admired Jurgen Klopp because he knows he's a really, really good manager. But he says it took Jurgen Klopp 4 years to get him to the level where he is now at Liverpool and that. But, Solskjaer is totally comparison to Jurgen Klopp. Solskjaer will never emulate into Jurgen Klopp, like I've said. And I think the main explanations why Solskjaer needs to be sacked as Manchester United manager is because, we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. So this is the worst we've ever been in the Premier League era. Since he got the job permanently, he's lost more games than he's won in the Premier League. He's got the worst win ratio in the club's modern history. The worst win ratio. He's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. He doesn't have a plan A, he doesn't have a plan B, and I just think in general that the club is too big for him. That's my own perception on that. Obviously, it would cost, I presume it'd cost the club to sack Solskjaer. Can the club afford to sack Solskjaer? Because don't forget, we're paying David Moyes' salary off, Van Gaal's salary off, and Jose Mourinho's salary off, despite the fact we sacked them. But I think it did say it cost us around £5 million to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But, we've got to get rid of him. And I think he's too inexperienced. He hasn't got a pedigree behind him as Solskjaer. And my perception is totally comparison to how he was as a player. Because he had that proven pedigree as a player. But he just hasn't got it as a manager. So he has not got it as a manager whatsoever as Solskjaer. So I think we need to get him out of the football club. But like I said, I'm very sceptical that Man United will sack him at this present time. I think, he'll probably, go at the end of the season. I think Solskjaer should resign from the job. Obviously Solskjaer will say, well, if I resign, I won't get paid any money for resigning. But I think that would be the sensible thing to do. We should just come out, like I said, on Match Reaction and say, I'm not good enough for the football club as a manager. I love the club. I'm a legend of the club. And I'll never forget, what I did for the football club. And that prime example, I won the club the treble in 1999 as a player, which is one of the club's greatest achievements. I did really, really well on an interim basis for 3 months because he did do really, really well as an interim manager. The results were good, the performances were good, and he got the best out of these group of players. But since Solskjaer got the job permanently, everything has just seemed to have all gone wrong. And I feel as though he's had enough. He's had long enough at the club now. He's been here for 13 months, so he's been at the club now over a year. And Solskjaer says, he realises that he's got many expectations to exceed in his second year at the club. But, this is his first full season, and I don't think we're going to win any silverware under Solskjaer. We're definitely not going to get our 21st title under Solskjaer. But, I think he's had long enough at the football club, definitely. But, I know that Man United are not really known for the sacking club, and we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers. Despite the fact that 3 managers have been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. The main explanation why David Moyes got sacked is because he wasn't the right manager for Manchester United. He never dealt with top players and that. And he was just he was never a manager to the top level, was David Moyes. And, Ferguson was at the fault for ever recommending him in. But that's the only mistake Ferguson made. The only reason he recommended Moyes in is because, they were both Scottish. But Moyes only enjoyed a short 10-month tenure with the club. So he enjoyed the shortest tenure with the club since the Ferguson era. Then, we had Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho, and they actually, were 2 world-class managers. Because, Louis van Gaal did well at Munich before he came to United at that time. But again, the main explanations why it didn't work out under Van Gaal, philosophy wasn't right for the club, the football was boring under Van Gaal, despite the fact he did bring quite a lot of players in, did Louis van Gaal, but he just wasn't the right man. We got the FA Cup under Van Gaal. Jose Mourinho enjoyed a 2.5-year tenure with the football club. For my perception, we recommended him in too late. I think we should have got him when Ferguson retired, Jose Mourinho, because he was a great manager back in the day. He's got a fantastic pedigree, but now I don't think he's a manager at the top level anymore. I think he's past his sell-by date, to be fair, Jose Mourinho. But the main factor reasons why it didn't work out under Jose Mourinho at Man United, he had bad disputes with the top players. The board weren't backing the signings that I wanted to recommend in the summer of 2018. Also, too, it was part of the bus football under Mourinho. Bad disputes with the board and everything else, like I said. So these are the reasons it didn't work out under him. And Jose Mourinho brought a lot of players into the club, and analysing the vast majority of these players now, they are Jose Mourinho. Solskjaer is inheriting the vast majority of them. So you can still say that Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. But I think it's more than likely, that Pochettino will be coming in at the end of the season. Now, I don't think he'll come in anywhere until the end of the season, but I think he'll do a much better job than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United, definitely. But I think, there's definitely more players that need to leave the football club. I think we need to get rid of Jones, Rojo, Matic, Jesse Lingard, too inconsistent. Chong isn't quite at that level as yet. Angel Gomez doesn't get the chances as he should be getting. There's a lot of United fans saying that we should get rid of Luke Shaw. But yeah, so these 2 more players that do need to leave the football club. Very adamant that Pogba will go in the summer. So, yeah. So, Man United do go up against Tranmere tomorrow in the FA Cup 4th round. We need to see a reaction from Man United, because we've enjoyed a bad week this week, losing to Burnley 2-0. Our first defeat at home to Burnley since 1962, which is 58 years ago. Lost to Liverpool, of course. So we've got to see a reaction. And Solskjaer is going to make changes from the 2-0 defeat to Burnley. It is Prenton Park, it's Tranmere's ground. Tranmere sit 21st in League One. So this is a game that Manchester United should win. And this is obviously an opportunity for us, to give the youngsters their opportunities. I think he'll play some youngsters in the game. I think he'll also go with some first teamers in that. Will Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But he says it's not a quick fix at Old Trafford. Solskjaer is aware that, the pitch at Prenton Park is bad. It's in really bad condition. But he says the players can't obviously use that as an excuse. I think Lindelof is expected to play against Tranmere because he missed the game against Burnley, due to illness. He had illness, did Victor Lindelof, so I expect him to be back against Tranmere. Bay's back now, which is very, very good. So he actually, could play, could Eric Bay. He could start alongside Lindelof. Bailly should be given an opportunity. He hasn't played in the Premier League since April of last year, Eric Bailly, but very injury prone. But he has been playing for the under-23s recently. Vasil Mensah's now back. I think there's some reports saying Tuan Zebe could be back, but I think he's a doubt. I think Rojo's still out with injury. Pogba McTominay out still. Rashford's out. So yeah, so he will make. I give you my starting 11 prediction yesterday. I think he'll make quite a few changes. We've already played Tranmere this season. We played them in the under-21s. We'd lost the game. Chong had scored a brace in that game, but we lost by 3-2. We got past Wolves in the third round to get to the fourth round. Tranmere got past Watford. They beat Watford 2-1 on Friday. Yes, they did. Oh, no, was it Thursday? Oh, it was one of them. It was either yesterday or it was Thursday. It was one of them, yeah. So, yeah, and so hopefully, we can get a result against Tranmere. There's some reports saying, could it be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's last game as Manchester United manager against Tranmere? We shall find out, definitely, in that. But, Man United are never going to be the team that was under Ferguson. Solskjaer's not going to invoke Ferguson's legacy. He's not going to invoke Ferguson's legacy. I don't think any manager will replicate what Alex Ferguson did. I know Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the club, but look what he went and accomplished after that 4 years. So if he'd have been sacked within that 4 years, we wouldn't have been as successful as we are now. Definitely not. But that's how it is. So that's the latest news regarding Bruno Fernandes, and that's the latest news on everything else. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. There'll be more videos coming up very soon. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.